Hi, and welcome to this week's Nolte Lightning Talk. My name is Dwayne Musgrave, and I'm the Customer Success and Marketing Lead here at Nolte. Today, I wanted to share with you the growth driven design model and why shifting to GDD is better for both our customers and us as an agency, especially because we already work with the Agile methodology. So let's get started. If we're truly being honest with ourselves, we know that website redesigns can be frustrating. We start off great, have a clear idea of the scope of the project or timeline, and a clear idea of exactly how much this should cost the client. Right? Everything seems hunky dory, but then tragedy strikes. And we've all been there. It just sometimes feels like scope creep, milestone and deadline changes, or worse still, unexpected hidden costs just keep coming up of nowhere. If we were to ask Luke Summerfield, an expert in the field of project development and the pioneer of GDD, he'd tell you that it's because our current means of building websites and other digital products is broken. Let's look at this from the customer's perspective. The reality is that the customer sees the website, this redesign, through a lens of potential disasters just waiting to happen. It's not their fault. We've evolved to be risk adverse, and whether we're conscious of it or not, it's much easier for us to create a long list of 101 reasons why the project could go wrong. If you thought that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse. After all that energy, effort, frustration, breakups, and makeups we live through during the process of product development, this is what actually happens to the website in the majority of cases. We get it out the door, and then no one uses the site as it should be. A core part of the business. Websites are your 24/7 sales representative, your source of truth for marketing and PR campaigns, and a way to generate leads, educate your audience, and even streamline certain internal business administrative processes. But no one bothers to update the site. Something breaks, and everyone is too busy to take ownership of getting it fixed. And in extreme cases, the business organization has changed completely, and the website no longer reflects who they are or what they do and is ignored entirely. Heartbreaking, right? I've said it once and I'll say it again. Clearly, something is broken. And it's not because there's no concern, it's just that we've been working like this for such a long time now that it has actually started to feel like the norm. So, given this context, what happens in the real world, here comes growth-driven design, our own personal caped crusader of web development city. Growth-driven design is a smarter approach to web design that eliminates all of the headaches and drives optimal results using data. It's built on top of the Scrum Agile process and weaves together various concepts into a comprehensive and highly effective web design methodology, which we'll get to a little bit later in the talk. Exactly as the slide says, GDD is about the long game. What we're aiming for is to create long term client agency relationships, starting at 6 to 12 months, and hopefully grow into something even deeper over time. Furthermore, we want to put out there best in class digital products that are strategy and data driven. And our way of doing so is by making consistent monthly iterations and improvements to stay ahead. Finally, extremely important, everyone involved needs to be in agreement that this is an investment in the long-term business or organization's strategy into one of our fundamental tools of the digital era and not an expense. So, that was a lot. And after dropping so many truth bombs and the big curtain reveal, let's jump quickly into the GDD methodology and what it actually looks like from a process perspective. As I mentioned before, GDD is actually built on top of the Scrum Agile process, so it should feel pretty familiar to you if this is the way you already work. It consists of three phases. The strategy phase, where we develop a solid foundation upon which we can actually kick things off, knowing that we're headed in the right direction, well, at least to the best of our knowledge at that time. The launchpad phase, where it's all about providing the client with an MVP website, which already looks and performs better than the website they have today. And then there's the continuous development phase, where we really dig our heels in and push continuous development. So, successful websites begin with a focused growth strategy. Our goal in the strategy stage is to develop an empathetic understanding of the client's audience and world and how the website can solve problems along their journey. This is where we set smart goals, understand user behavior, solve design problems, and connect more deeply with customers. Remember, a clear strategy drives momentum for the website launch. Again, the goal of the Launchpad website is to quickly build a website that looks and performs better than what the client has today, but is not the final product. Your Launchpad is the foundation from which we will be able to collect real user data and optimize. Remember, part of the problem of building websites the traditional way means that for 6 months, we could be building in a bubble using best guesses. This is a risky way to grow. The solution here is to launch quickly, validate assumptions, and use the majority of the budget for optimizations. Then we get to the continuous development phase. And if you weren't having fun before, this is when the party really begins. With a Launchpad site live and collecting user data, we can now start identifying and recommending the high impact actions the client can take to grow their business, with our support, of course. And just in case you've started to miss them, here's another truth bomb for you. Peak performing websites are not built overnight. Optimal performance comes through data-driven optimizations. Traditional launch it and leave it websites builds can never ascend to the level of performance of a growth-driven website because refinement is where performance is achieved. Okay. So you must be thinking, this is awesome. But how are we going to keep the agency running if we do things this way? Well, here at Nolte, this is how we see the business model around continuous development and what works based on our company economics. As you can see, we do provide a base maintenance service because, hey, before you can even start thinking of improvements, you've got to make sure that the site is at least live and the basics are working properly. But things start getting interesting at the maintain plan level, where once the client's Launchpad is live, we begin the continuous development process with either 10, 20, or a tailored amount of consulting and development time every month. So I guess the fundamental question here is, what kind of agency do we want to be? We are currently an interesting moment at Nolte, where we're stuck somewhere in the middle. We already work with Agile as our MO. So all we have to do is make a couple of hard decisions, dive right in, and commit to becoming the top level GDD agency in the Americas. Thanks, and I really hope you enjoyed this talk. Please feel free to leave your comments or questions below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our channel. Until next time.